I'm Kyle Bachus. On April 28th of 2020, my mom was killed as a result of someone else's negligence. It's completely changed my life and the way I practice law. If you too have felt the pain of losing a loved one and you don't know where to turn, let me be your guide on what to do next when the unthinkable happens.
So one of the things that a family has to address after a catastrophic injury is who's going to make the medical decisions. Obviously, if the person in your family who has been injured is capable of making their own decisions, terrific. But a lot of times, whether it's in the beginning of the care or sometimes it's got a kind of a longer duration, somebody has to step in and make medical decisions on behalf of the injured family member. And that's where you first have to determine if there's what's called a medical directive. Sometimes they're referred to as a living will, but it's better, I think, to think of it as a medical directive. Now, if there's a medical directive, this is where a family member, in advance of having something happen to them, has made a formal legal document that says two things. One, when and what they want in terms of significant levels of care. And then two, this document might also identify, it's called a medical power of attorney, might identify which family member they want to make decisions instead of themselves if they're incapable of making decisions. Those are legal enforceable documents, just like a will. And so you need to know whether your family member has made a medical directive or has a medical durable power of attorney. They might be called different things, but what you're really looking for is a document that says, hey, here's the care that I want or don't want. And if I can't make decisions, here's who I want making decisions on my behalf. If your family member has that, bless them, thank them. That's a big deal because it takes a lot of concern and worry off of the family because you have specific directive from the person who's injured. A lot of times you don't have that. You don't have a medical power of attorney or you don't have a medical directive. And in that case, the family will come together to try to jointly make decisions. This can be a very hectic and difficult process for the family and for the medical staff as well. It's important for the family to try to come together and decide one or two people are going to be involved in making the medical decisions. If it's a significant period of time, you can go to court to get somebody designated, but generally that's not necessary. Generally, the family can work together and make those medical decisions. There's usually what's called a family meeting if somebody has been very badly hurt. And this generally occurs after your family member has been stabilized in a hospital. There'll be an invitation by the doctor staff to come in for this family meeting. The doctors are going to want to know in the family meeting who is going to be making the medical decisions during the short term while your family member can't make those decisions, or sometimes it's a longer period of time. And these family meetings are attended by the main treating physicians. Now, remember, they're very busy and their job is to provide medical care. And so this isn't going to be a 4-hour meeting. It may be a 15-minute meeting or a 20-minute meeting. And at that time, you have the opportunity to interact with the staff and to ask questions. And some of the things that are important to understand is when are visiting hours? What are the next steps? What should we expect in the next 24 to 48 hours? Who are the doctors who are going to be in charge? What important medical decisions do you see coming up? Those are some good, typical questions that you can raise in a family meeting. That's how you start, is identifying who's going to make the decisions and then putting yourself in a position to interact with the medical staff to understand what the near future looks like in terms of the necessary medical decisions that need to be made.